Hey YouTube, and welcome to my channel. And today we're going to be talking about my mental health journey throughout the years. My mental health journey started in 2018 when I had my very first psychotic episode in January of 2018. And now we are in 2025. So, I went from being in and out of jail cells and in and out of insane asylums, getting felonies dropped, advocating sobriety to teens in high school, getting accepted into beauty pageants for my mental health awareness movement, as well as starting a YouTube channel to track my journey with school and mental health advocacy. Now we're gonna talk about what happened with me in school in another video. The problem within my mental health journey is my support system is not really supportive. People are not happy for my growth. They are not happy. Like, I thought, getting myself together mentally would make people proud, but instead it made people angry because they could not use my experiences against me because I was no longer having those repetitive experiences. Um, People, my family, would rather use my diagnosis to invalidate my logic and reasoning when I'm holding them accountable. And that's how I got to the point with lawsuits and things of that nature, because it's like you're not going to do messed up things to me and think that you're not going to be held to the highest standard of accountability in law because you understand what you're doing is wrong. You just thought you could do it to somebody who wasn't strong enough to stand up for themselves on their own. Um, Dealing with a lot of projections and fear mongering. That's something that I was able to reflect on this year as well. People, family, angry at me for choosing to speak on family generational trauma and how it was passed down to me and how it has affected my psyche. Support system actively, intentionally trying to trigger me into a psychosis. Support system using my diagnosis to invalidate my traumatic experiences with them, also using my diagnosis to invalidate my parenting abilities. Okay. And the part that really tickles my pickle with that situation is like my parents knew I already dealt with depression since I was a little girl. Since I was 8 years old, my family knew I dealt with depression. First and foremost, let's get that started. I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was in the first grade. And I was the child in my family that could see and hear things that other people could not see and hear since I was like 10 years old. So I already had the characteristics and the experiences of someone who could possibly deal with mental health issues as I got older. And did my parents know that? Yes. Were they aware of that? Yes. They chose not to get me the help that I needed because they did not want to potentially be held accountable for the traumatic experiences that I was dealing with in that home. And they did not want to be exposed for thing that was going on in the home. So they just act like it was not there and swept it under the rug. And my thing is, with them knowing all of this about me before I even turned 15, and they allowed me to be responsible for all those children from the first grade up until I graduated high school, it's just like, oh, so my mental health issues wasn't a problem when I was taking care of y'all kids. When I was doing y'all kids' hair, cooking for them, helping them with their homework every day, taking them to school, driving without a driver license to go pick your kids up and take them back and forth to daycare, go grocery shopping. My mental health was not a problem when I was doing what y'all wanted me to do. But the moment I'm in a situation or I've created a life outside of other people and being obligated to take care of them, now I'm not suitable to be a parent. That is the part that made me like, oh, y'all really think y'all got a fool. I'm not a fool. But anyways, yes, I had to take notes because this is a lot. Um, the solution for my mental health journey, I put practice detachment from unsolicited opinions. And I feel like that's the main thing that I learned this year through all the stuff that I was going through is Stop caring about people, their outcomes, and what's going on in their personal life. Because that was like something that I realized I had real bad attachment issues, real bad. And we're going to get to that in another video as well. Yeah, so practice detachment from unsolicited opinions of people who serve no purpose in my growth. Also, I put separate myself from toxic environments and toxic people. Toxicity hinders growth, okay? Because that's how I ended up back at square one and having nowhere to go and ended up in a worse situation that I thought I was in when I was staying in a homeless shelter. Yeah. Hmm. Elevation requires separation. Isolate myself from distractions. I put asexuality because I'm in a space where I cannot be focused on love and focused on my finances at the same time. One gotta go. And no matter how much I'm a lover girl, I realize that I can't be a proper lover girl if my pockets is not on full the way I need them to be. Because I'm the type where as soon as a NIGGA think he got me figured out and think he can do me any type of way, I chuck up the deuces real quick on you. And being in a space where I'm not financially secure, it puts me in a situation where I'm more stressed out and I'm more liable to deal with things that I should not be dealing with just for the sake of being able to get that resource. And then when you're dealing with dudes who ain't even got no resources, girl, you just look stupid. And that's a whole nother topic, whole nother story time, whatever. Sobriety, no weed. I put learn how to make mocktails instead of drinking cocktails. Yeah. Fitness journey. One thing I learned when I was 17 years old is that when you work out and you exercise, it releases a happy chemical in your brain. I forgot. I don't know if it's endorphins or what, but I remember my dad told me that when I was 17 because I told him I was dealing with depression and anxiety, and he was like, "It's not real. If you work out, it'll go away on its own naturally, but you got to be consistent." And so that was something that helped me back then, and that's why I've been on this fitness journey now because I do want to start taking my mental health medicine, but I feel like if I know the medicine gonna make me fat, then I need to create a lifestyle or at least a routine where being fit and focusing on fitness is a part of it because I don't got time to be 250 pounds again. That is not fun. Being fat is not fun for me. And that's not no shade, no tea. I mean, no shade, no, none of that. Not being funny towards anybody that may be fat and dealing with mental health issues. And as long as you accept yourself, I accept you too. But respectfully, being fat is not for me. When I was a kid, I was bullied because people told me I was gonna be fat when I got grown. So the fact that I became fat at one point in time in life is like it haunts me. And one thing about me, I can't never let my haters be right, girl. No. Anyway, yeah. So that's why I was like, fitness is where it's at. And I also wanted to say that at the beginning of this year, I was 225 pounds. In January of 2025, I was 225 pounds. And at December of 2025, I am 170 pounds. Okay. Okay. Um, Also, I put healthy brain function. That's something that so earlier this year, I started learning about how to reverse my diagnosis, which is bipolar disorder and PTSD. Now, I don't know. I ain't really been focusing on how to reverse PTSD just yet. I was more so focused on how to reverse bipolar disorder. And one thing I learned is you have to figure out what hormones is being affected through the diagnosis. And one that I remember off the top of my head is cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And so I realized that if I can reverse the imbalance in my hormones, more than likely I can reverse the diagnosis altogether. Now, this whole year I've been working on lowering my cortisone levels. Now, I don't know if I did a good job, honestly, because I ended up tweaking and having a psychotic episode. And that's another video for another time. But this is just me reflecting on where I've been trying to work on in my journey and where I am in my mental health journey. And I also learned earlier this year about lion's mane, which helps like with the brain functioning and stuff, as well as mushroom gummies. But the reason why I wasn't taking lion's mane is because I was smoking earlier this year and I was trying to stop. I was trying to wing myself off. So at the beginning of this year, my intentions was to stop smoking, and I have. Now let's hope that we can be consistent in the pursuit of sobriety. But as of right now, I have not smoked since September of 2025. So September, October, November, December. So as of right now, I have not smoked in 3 months, and I'm very proud of myself because, girl, that was a long time coming because I was stressed out. But yes, something else that I put for solution for my mental health journey is vitamins. Something that I realized about my own personal experience is that during the colder seasons, I go through depression, and I realize it's because I lack vitamin D. Now, we do get vitamin D naturally from the sun, but in the months of the winter, that's not gonna cut it. You gotta actually take supplements to balance and yeah, basically balance the vitamins that you are losing or that's being depleted during the cold. And I also said I was going to start taking my mental health medicine outside of taking vitamins. And I think I already mentioned that I wanted to start taking my mental health medicine, but I wanted to get unfat first because I didn't want to enhance the fat that I was already trying to get off my back. um I also put EDMR therapy. That's like a trauma therapy. And therapy is expensive, but I just was like, maybe if I stop smoking and use the money that I pay for marijuana or the Lord's lettuce, I just say that, the Lord's lettuce. Because at the end of the day, it is a herb and it is from the earth. So respectfully, even if it's not what's best for me, it don't mean that it's just the worst thing in the world because marijuana can be used for other scientific practices like joint pain and stuff like that. Like I ain't even gonna get into all that, but anyways, it's not bad. It just may not be the best solution for my personal problems, especially where I'm at in life. Um, yeah, so EDMR therapy. I also put boxing because it's a healthy coping mechanism to deal with anger and stress. Cause I really do be ready to tussle. And I just feel like I don't want to go to jail no more, even though I just got out of jail. I don't want to go to jail no more. And I would rather just get paid to beat people up. Or if I get beat up, Lord bless it. But at least I get paid for the fight, right? I believe so. Anyways, that's just something that I've been thinking about getting into for real, for real. Something else I put is persevere despite challenging obstacles. I know y'all can hear my baby in the background running his chapel. So just don't mind him. Okay, he a baby. We've been in the house all day and he wanted to go outside, but I was tired. I've been handling business all week and I just wanted to lay down all day. So if y'all hear baby D in the background, just ignore, okay? Ignore. But yes, I put persevere despite challenging obstacles. Continue telling my truth through content creating. Use art, poetry, painting, rapping, storytelling to transmute pain into profitable gain and teaching lessons or learning lessons or teaching moments. Move in silence, no announcements, just results. That's something that I learned is really my problem. I overshare with people way too much. Overshare way too much. And I realized that it came from me not trusting myself to make sound decisions on my own because of having psychotic episodes in and of in mental health hospitals. And people around me always making me feel as though I can't function without my mental health medicine. Like I've had a lot of people tell me like I've had friends like stop talking to me because they was afraid I was gonna have a psychosis, and they basically gave me ultimatums of, oh, if you don't take your mental health medicine, I can't be your friend. Then I had another friend who went to school for psychology, and she basically like undermined all my decisions, but it at the same time she made it seem like I was willing, she was supporting me, but in a way where she was giving me choices to make and choose from and follow. And it was like if I didn't, adhere to the, I guess, the advice that she gave me, then I really didn't care about myself or I really wasn't trying. But it's like you can't take advice from people who ain't went through what you went through. Somebody who ain't never faced a real struggle outside of failing a class or getting a heart broke by a man. I'm not saying that those are not hardships. They are, but there is levels to pain, levels to sorrows, levels to adversities. And if somebody ain't never walked a mile in your shoes, how in the world they gonna tell you what to do while you walking in them shoes? They can't. And I've always known that, but a lot of people who not on the same level of understanding as me, they don't see it the way I see it. And so they kind of use my diagnosis as a means to keep me in a place of doubt mentally. So yes, stop telling people what I want to do and what I'm working on, because a lot of times they will discourage you and impose mentally, as well as project and fearmonger back to the problem within my mental health journey, telling people stuff, and then they try to convince me that that's not the right thing to do for me. And I can't allow people to deter me from my path. That's just point blank period. I know what God has put in my heart and God has put in my mind and shown me where I'm supposed to be at. And if I know where I'm supposed to be, then it's my job to get myself there. I can't expect everybody to understand my journey, because this is my journey. This is my walk with God. So yeah, this enough. I need to just stop telling people what's going on and just do it on my own. This is people. God will send people on your path. Point blank in the period. Like, even if the people that's on your path right now are not gonna be there forever, it's gonna be somebody that's gonna come on your path that's supposed to get you exactly where you're supposed to go. Point blank. That's just it. That's a part of the journey and walking into the unknown. You don't know what God has in store for you until you decide to trust your source. And that's just what I've learned on my personal journey. I need to stop talking too much and just really be quiet and be still and just listen and know that I'm not alone, even if I feel alone. It's just a part of my journey of, enhancing my faith and stuff. So yeah, just move in silence. No announcements, just results. Unless I'm talking to y'all and I'm telling y'all what I got going on, and so y'all can support me. But anyways, I also put pursue my happily ever after with no guilt. No guilt for other people failing to follow their dreams. Focus on me and baby D. I realized that's something that I struggle with. Um, really being able to not feel bad for myself being blessed while other people are stressed. And like, I remember one of my friends, she like had the most support from her family, and I would like literally get jealous. But then I realized like she was jealous of me because I was having money being thrown at me randomly. So it was like she was pursuing school and pursuing degrees, and she had to take out loans and having to pay all this money back. I'm not even in school, and I got people throwing me money just to help my living situation and help me and my child. And it was like, that's why they say comparison is a thief for joy. But in this case, I wasn't really comparing. I was just more so of being able to see the difference between us, because she have so much moral support and people showing up for her. That may be why she's lacking in other departments. And because I was lacking in moral support and in family support, that's probably why I was getting random blessings, financial blessings, when I least expected it. And it would kind of make me like feel bad, and not just with this friend but with other people like around me, people expecting me to give them my resources, or trying to gaslight me or manipulate me out of my resources because they was going through something and I was being blessed and getting a leg up. And it's just, that's not my problem. Like the song, that's just not my problem. Yeah, I need to start chanting that. That's not my problem. Other people's problems are not my problems. And the same way God could bring me out of a situation, God can bring you out of one too. So I just need to start feeling guilty for being blessed, because at the end of the day, favor ain't fair, baby. That's just what I was taught when I was a kid. And I also need to like lock in on my focus on what I desire and my son, because I realized like having mental health issues has affected how I see myself and feel about myself as a mom. And I've been working so hard to not have another psychotic episode. And because I did have one this year in August, September, it's like I'm back in a space mentally where I feel like I have to prove that I'm not crazy or I'm not a bad mom. But it's like, even if I do have a mental diagnosis, it does not mean that I don't understand how to raise a child. Because at the end of the day, even with a diagnosis, I'm still showing up for myself. I'm still working on myself. And that should count for something, that I am taking the initiative to heal. I am intentional about my healing and my nervous re-regulation, as well as, creating a path for my son that he can be able to follow and learn how to help himself in case he ever get into situations that I was in, with psych wards and jail experiences. And I'm hoping that because I am actively and continuously working on myself and self-reflecting and practicing self-awareness that my child don't have to face none of my adversities, because as a young boy who will become a man one day, he may not get the same grace that I got as a woman. And I'm not going to get too deep into that in this video, but I do understand that the more I focus on my healing and focusing on showing up for myself and creating a community for like-minded individuals, I'm creating a safe space for my child to be able to know that if anything happens to him, he have people who understand and can help him and not use it against him. So yeah, those are the solutions for my mental health journey. And this is my take on my mental health journey throughout the years. I hope you guys like the video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and also share, because that means you care about the mental health awareness movement. I'm gonna go eat or go to sleep. I don't know, but y'all have a good night. Bye.